Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Fulfillment Podcast, where we help discover a better you by finding fulfillment in life, relationships, and finance. I'm your host, Josh, and in this episode, we are going to go over how to be successful. And really, I'd say the first step, we'll call it the secret to success, right? It's not a secret. Like we all know how to become successful. We all know what we need to do, right? Yeah, think about it. If I came to you and asked you, what do you have to do to be successful? Right? To make a lot of money or to live financially free and to enjoy doing whatever you want, right? To have all the freedom you want. You're probably like, oh, make a lot of money. Okay, how do you make a lot of money? I don't know. You own a business or you sell some real estate or you own a mansion or, whatever. You're like, okay, do it. You're like, oh, I can't. I got this. Those things are called procrastination techniques. And you come up with reasons in your head as to why those are true, and that's why you don't achieve. So the secret to success is, you probably guessed it, it's the exact opposite of that. It's called taking action and making the changes that you need to see in your life, right? Making the changes that you want so that you can make things grow, so that you can move yourself in the right direction, so that you can achieve the stuff that you want to achieve, so you can, become significant and find the love and all those different things you want to do. It holds true in business, it holds true in finances, it holds true in relationships, everything, right? Take action. That is the secret sauce. That if you ever wanted to know something, that's exactly what it is. So talk about all that stuff inside the episode. It's another super exciting one just because I love when I get super passionate about something, and this is one of those things that when people come to me, right, when I got coaching clients and stuff calling in and they're asking or they're sending me messages and they're like, hey, Josh, you talk about all these things you've done. What have you done to get there? What are the steps you've done to get there? And I'm like, guys, I'm no different than you are. There's nothing special about me that's not in you. We all have what we need inside of us. I just figured it out, or I'm just taking action on it and you're not. That's the only difference. And that's what I tell people. And that's why I made this episode, is because I want to tell you guys, I want to push it out to everybody. There's nothing special about me. There's nothing different about me. I think maybe I've gone through significant pain. I've gone through some pretty substantial, heartbreaking, life-changing, life-altering pain, and some very very, very tough, clear realization points for me. And just created a point where now I take action and I don't care. And I know in my heart that if I follow my gut, then it's moving me in the right direction. And I trust that now, and I don't hold back. And that's where you got to get yourself to that same point. So we'll talk about all that stuff inside the episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's get to it. All right. So for this one, right, this is going to be pretty intense because you guys have been asking me, and I've had this asked a few times, right, is how do you get started? Josh, you are in a spot where I want to be there someday. And what did you do differently than what everybody else is doing? How do I get to kind of like where you're at? Right? That seems to be a pretty common question. That's a question I ask of like my mentors and like the people that I look up to and the people that I listen to whenever I'm trying to learn something new or do something new, right? Or achieve a higher goal. As I always ask them, I have to go to them and be like, all right, how'd you get there? The difference is I go there with a plan or a strategy either already implemented or already taking action on, right? Whereas the opposite is true, I would say, of at least 90 to 95% of people. Maybe even 99%, right, are people that are going to go to somebody and ask them questions without anything being done. And that's the biggest difference. When you find a mentor or when you're trying to find somebody to help you and to coach you through these things, you have to come with a plan. You have to come with action already being taken. You have to come with something in place, because then they know you're a doer and you're not somebody that's just going to sit and procrastinate. Because no mentor, especially a successful one, is going to want to sit around with somebody who's not going to take action. That's the biggest difference maker between somebody that makes it happen and somebody that doesn't. And they know that because they are somebody, most likely, if you're going to them or seeking them for help, they are somebody who has made it successful. And they've been good at their craft, and they've taken action, and they've made it work. And they know that. They know these secrets, right? They know the truth of it. So you guys want to know the secret, the real secret, right? To what it is you got to do to be successful, to get out of your 9-to-5, to live the life, kind of to have the freedom, the financial freedom, and the financial independence that you want, right? You want to learn what those secrets are? I'll tell you right now. It's nothing. It's really no secret. It's really not. You already know the answer. All of us already know exactly what the answer is. These people, you could go online, you could find, or Instagram or whatever, you could find 100 people that are trying to sell these secrets and tell you all this, reasons of success and all this other, hoopla bullshit. There's no secret. You already know what the secret is. The secret's taking action. You got to take action. Don't sit around and procrastinate. Take action. That's the biggest difference. I tell you, so in my life, right, as a personal example, I'll give you an example of my life, right? So you already know kind of like the backstory. When I was going through the divorce, right, and when I was in my marriage and before I got divorced, I didn't take action on most things, right? I was in a 9-to-5, I was in the Army. It wasn't even 9-to-5, it was probably like 5-to-5. And then you got field training exercises, you weekends and weeks away and all that stuff. You get deployments and shit, so you don't even get, whatever. So a lot of time spent, right, away. So it's more than even just like a 5-to-5. Like I was spending a lot of time being gone. So I wasn't really an action taker. I was living this life that I was good at it, and I was really good at what I was doing, but did I enjoy it? I mean, I did initially, for the first year or two, until I got beat down like a pulp, and after a few deployments and being gone for so many, missed holidays and events and parties and all this other stuff, and missing friends, weddings and stuff like that, it starts to eat away at you, especially if that stuff's important to you, right? If one of your conscious reasons of being alive, right, to feel significant is feeling significant, right, which mine is significance and love. But my top reason is significance, and you definitely don't feel significant if you're gone all the time and you're, sticking it out for, the man, or you're helping, fight for your country when people a lot of times don't even respect or care about you, right? And it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, it's just like a thing a guy's doing at a really far, place. So I was in no way was I taking action. I was kind of just like, I have the most secure job I'll ever have. I'm getting paid well. They're paying off, like all my student debt and everything was paid off, and everything sounded good, right? It was great, but I wasn't happy, right? I was happy for the first couple of years when I was, just enjoying it. But then after that, it's like, man, stuff kind of really starts to add up on you. You start missing out on things, and you start, not being present for a lot, and it wears you down. It really does, and it wears you down. But I was not taking action for it, and I was never going to move myself out of that because of where I was. What it takes in order to do something, right? Sometimes the biggest thing you need to take action, the biggest push you need to go forward is honestly just a kick in the ass. You need something to change the way you see it. You need something to pretty much put its boot in your ass and change for you so that you take the action that you need to. If this makes sense to you, and you're still following me, right? Because nothing's changing in your life, nothing's changing in your environment, so you just keep doing, because you're in a routine, you're in habits, whatever. Everything just continues to action. It's on autopilot. But if something changes in your environment, if something changes in your routine, if one of your habits shift, then your whole paradigm can shift, right? The whole way you view everything, your whole perception on stuff changes. And for me, that was finding out that there was the affair going on. And once I figured that out, then all of a sudden my entire life was turned upside down, which was a good thing. I didn't see it at the time because of how much change was happening, instantly. But it was ultimately a very good thing. My whole world was flipped on its axis, which was great because looking back at it, I can see that I would have stayed in the same routine. I'd probably be married now. I'd probably, a wife and some kids and like all this stuff, and I'd be unhappy about it, and it would just be miserable the whole time, right? That would be my life. That's the life I'd be living. But because of what happened, it shifted, and it put this big old, basically fire under my butt, right, under my butt, and made me move in a direction that was like kind of, what? Now is the chance. If I'm going to take action and do something, now's the time for me to do that. So I did, right? I was looking at homes at the time because we were planning a move to Colorado because I found out, like, I swear to God, I kid you not, like 4 or something days before we literally were getting on the road to drive west, and found out what was going on, and it was more or less one of those things like, well, grab your boxes and I'll see ya. So we were still looking for homes at the time. So I still had a realtor in Colorado. We still have homes lined up to go like walk through and look at and all this stuff when we got there. Like everything was pretty much still in play. So what I did was I set that goal for myself. I set an ambitious goal for myself to say, you know what, over the course of the next 3 years, because you typically as an officer you get stationed at a duty station for typically about 3 years, right? That's as long as you're positioned somewhere. So I was stationed there for what I planned to be the next 3 years. So I was like, I want to buy a house per year. And I had no idea what I was doing, right? I'd never purchased a house before. I'd never been a homeowner. I had never done anything like this ambitious other than just like investing in my IRA and some investment accounts. Like I didn't know a thing about what I was doing. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. Here's an ambitious goal. Let's go. So we ended up moving out. I ended up finding a house that I liked and put an offer in on it and got it, right? Now, The significance of that, when I just said it, sounds like it was not significant at all to me. However, looking back at it, that was probably one of the biggest decisions that I could have made to create the life that I've created for myself today. Here's why. Remember what I said, the secret? We all know the secret, right? It's not procrastinating, it's taking action. What that decision did was that started a ripple effect of taking action on different things in my life. Okay? And it also positioned myself to where in the future, today, I don't have to work anymore and I can do what I want and I can pursue my dreams because now I have all this rental income and side income and passive income and stuff from, digital assets and real estate assets and everything else that's pouring money into my bank account. I don't have to work. But if I never would have started and made that decision that one day to buy that house, that first home, then I wouldn't be here. Okay, so it's incredibly, 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 incredibly powerful to get started, to just do. Remember back in like episode 3 or something, I talked about if you imagine a point A on the wall, and it's at the bottom of the wall, and then at the top of the wall is point B. So point B is where you want to go, the life you want to live, right? We'll call it financial independence. We'll call it financial abundance. We'll call it wife and kids. We'll call it, living your dream, owning a business, whatever it is, right? That's the point B. That's the goal. That's the dream. Point A is where you're at today. Remember what we talked about? Don't have any idea what to do in the middle. Right? That's exactly where I was when I was looking at buying that first home. I didn't know. I was like 3 houses in 3 years. Sure, it was more words on paper than it was an idea in my head. But what it did was by me buying the first home, it all of a sudden took those words on that paper and made them an idea in my head. It put purpose and it put intention behind everything. So it created a reality for me. It gave me the emotion of this is possible. You can actually do this. And that started the trend of taking action. Now on the relationship side and other stuff, right, there were other triggers, right? Because the divorce was a big thing, but I never healed through the divorce, right? I never healed in that until I met that first relationship, the one where I said I actually fell in love. I felt love for the first time, for like genuine, real, the universe is at peace has brought you together kind of love, right? But I was going to stay in a rut also if I would have stayed in that relationship. And it wasn't until I lost that, right? Remember I said there's always a trigger that triggers the point at which you take action. And that usually comes in the form of hurt or loss. And for me, it was hurt first with the divorce. But then it was also loss with this relationship. Because once I lost that relationship, I knew how much that hurt me. Like that completely devastated. I would say I was more hurt in the loss of that relationship than I was in the loss of the divorce. Because at least in the divorce, I knew that I wasn't meant for that person. And this was now like the beginning, the new beginning of my life. Whereas with this relationship, when I lost that relationship and I was, without her anymore, somebody that I felt was the person that I should be with for a long time. As soon as I had that loss, it was absolutely devastating, like completely destroyed me. So the power, the pain that was behind that triggered something in my head to take action because I wanted to see that again. And I didn't really, it was like a slow build and it continued to persist through the second relationship until I got to a point where I was like, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm tired of not being happy and I need to make this work. I need to heal myself and I need to fix things in order to get back to where I was before because I had the power and intention from that first relationship still in the back of my mind. And I thought if I ever wanted to get back to that and if I ever wanted to experience that again, then I have to do things the right way and I have to take action on it. So I did. And now looking at where I'm at today, right? I don't have anybody in my life. And I've been able to dump everything I want into my, businesses and the growing, my portfolios and dumping into real estate and doing all these different things. But it all started with a trigger to take action. Now, I'm not saying that there has to be a trigger. There doesn't always have to be a trigger. When I decided to break up the second time in that relationship, it was more of a trigger that I had in my head of I want to be happy again. I need to break up in order to get there, to be alone, to spend that time, to heal my wounds before I can find someone else, before I can find that genuine happiness again. So there wasn't necessarily an ultimate trigger like there was in the beginning. However, a lot of action happens from triggers, and the growth comes from pain. So always remember that. If you're going through tremendous pain, be it a loss, be it hurt, be it one of the things that we talked about, right? Be it anything like that, no matter what it is, whatever the pain is, what follows, the lesson that follows, as long as you can find a lesson from it, right? And you teach yourself to grow and you take the steps that we talked about. As long as you grow through it, you're going to take something positive away from it and you're going to learn, and the growth is going to be that much better. Depending on the amount of pain. If it's incredibly painful to you, the growth is going to be substantial. If it's only a little bit of pain, you might learn a lesson and you can prevent yourself from doing something in the future, or you can, speed up the process a little bit in the future, but it's probably not going to be super life altering. But if it's insanely painful to the point where you are just completely beside yourself and it's destroying who you are and it's breaking down walls and barriers that you wouldn't have broken down before, then the amount of growth that you're going to see on the backside of that is life changing. And I'm not kidding about that. You will notice life-changing results from pain that is almost impossible or seemingly impossible to deal with. It is true. It does happen. It's happened to me a couple times in my life, and it is incredible. I mean, when I was, we even think back, we can take a physical example of this. When I was in Ranger School, right, the Army's like elite survival leadership school that exists. When I was in Ranger School, the amount of shit and bullshit that I went through, I mean, I can't feel half of my right foot. It's like frozen from frostbite. All the nerves and stuff are just dead. The amount of pain and bullshit that I went through, sleep deprivation, hunger deprivation, like starving essentially, the amount of physical, just carrying hundreds of pounds up and down mountains, like the amount of shit you went through, right? Things that you never would have thought possible. Jumping in frozen lakes, crossing river, like all this kind of stuff. Never would have thought it was possible, but I did it. And because I did it, the amount of pain I went through when I was doing it was the amount of growth that I took out on the backside, right? And that's a physical example. It's the same thing's true really when you're like, if you think about it, when you're building muscle, right? The only way to build muscle is to break the muscle down so that you can stretch it and create new muscle tissue, and then you can grow a better muscle, right? A bigger muscle. You can grow more muscle. Right? Talk to any bodybuilder or anybody else like that, right? That's how building muscle works. The same thing goes true with your life. It's the same thing. It's just done in an emotional conscious instead of a physical muscle or cell group or whatever. It's shifted differently inside your head. It's emotionally shifting to you. So you have to take action in order to create those changes for you in your life. You have to. You absolutely must. You want the secret? That's the secret. Take action. Stop sitting around. Stop pussyfooting. Stop whatever. Like, you have to take action. When I was a financial advisor, another little fun side tangent here, but when I was a financial advisor, when I was sitting down with clients and stuff, the number one most frustrating thing for me, especially kind of because I had started this journey and I'd pretty much already started the podcast and started doing things like this, I knew what I needed to do, right? Because I'm making more money by me sitting down with people. When I was a financial advisor, I was doing them a service, right? I was sitting down with people and taking time out of my day that I could have spent investing in real estate or buying another asset or growing a business or doing something else that was going to improve me and make my life better and allow me to grow. But instead, I was sitting down with other people to try and help them. The only problem is a lot of people didn't want to be helped. And it was completely irritating to me. And it was so frustrating because all I had to do was sit down and tell them, this is what you need to do. You want to have, okay, so you want to be retired by 42. Well, here's what you got to do. You got to put this away. Oh, that seems like a lot of money. I can't do that. Like, I'm not ready. Maybe in a few years. Like, what is wrong with you? No, do it now. Like, you got to take action. I'm telling you, this is how you have to do it. And him and Han, they never would take action and they would never make a decision on it. And it was the most frustrating thing because it's like people were coming to you for your advice. You would give them advice, and then they wouldn't take it. Then they'd be, upset or frustrated or whatever, and they make it out like you're, trying to sell them or swindle them out of something. It's like, listen, man, like I don't need to be here. This isn't for me. I'm 100% here for you. If you're not going to take my advice, then what the hell am I doing? Like, why did we get on the phone? And it was the most frustrating thing. Or they'd agree to it, and then they'd change their mind later. They'd be like, oh, no, it's too much. Like, bro, it's $100 a month. Like, yeah, it's just, I can't do it. Like, you cannot invest $100 a month into your future to make sure that you're going to be financially stable when you get down the road. Because you're not going to do it by yourself. We've already established that. Like, taking a look at everything you got going on, you're clearly not doing it by yourself. $100 is too much, you're telling me right now. But you're going to do it in the future? You're going to start it later? You're going to do it on your own? Like, people wouldn't do it. And it was super frustrating to me because I knew what it took, and I would help that, and I would explain that to other people. And they wouldn't take it. So that's I would say one of the big reasons that created the shift for me be where I'm at is like, you know what? I need to work with people that actually value what I'm doing. And I'm no longer going to seek out, because that's what you had to do as a financial advisor, right? You had to seek out other people to invest in themselves, right? You had to seek out people and convince them that investing in their future and saving up for their future was worth it. And I swear to God, it was probably 1 out of 10, maybe 1 out of 20 people would realize that and do it. And it didn't matter the income level. It didn't matter anything. It was all about like financial intelligence and how prepared they were. But people sit there and they question things, and they don't understand the power of taking action. You have to take action if you want to make change. If you want to make change in your life because you're not in a happy place in your life, you have to take action in order to do that. You have to change your environment. You have to change your decisions. You have to change the people you surround yourself with. You have to change the thought process that's going on inside your head so that you can start taking action instead of sitting back, procrastinating, and waiting for someday some perfect opportunity is going to walk across your life. You know what's the biggest difference between the people that are successful and aren't? The people that take action. You want to know why? It's because the people that take action create everything. Everything that comes to them is an opportunity. The people that don't take action and procrastinate never have the perfect opportunity come along. So start looking at the way you look at things too. Identify the way you see things in your life. Is everything that comes up an opportunity? Or is everything that comes up just something else that's going on? Or is it just coincidence, or you're not ready for it? Or is it just another excuse that you're going to create and develop inside your head so you don't take action, so you don't make it happen in the future? I was talking, some people are like, oh, I got kids and, I can't do that. Bullshit. You can do it. Doesn't matter if you got kids or a wife or whatever the hell. Like, I'm a single dude. I could say the same thing. Like, oh, I don't have a family, so I have no motivation to be pushing for it, or in that regard. Or I don't have a family, so there's no reason for me to buy vacation homes for my family in the future that they can stay. Or there's no reason for me to have, insurance to where if I die, anything goes to somebody. Bullshit. Stop using those things as excuses. It's not an excuse. That should be, that should be more of a reason for somebody. Because think about it. If you want to spend time with your kids, what's the best way to do that? To have the freedom, right? So you don't have to work, so you can have the freedom to spend the amount of time you want with them. Well, I can tell you what, you work in a 9 to 5, guess what? You're spending 9 to 5 at work, not with your kids. You're not waking them up in the morning. You're not sending them off to work. You're not spending the day with them when they're not at work or at school. Sorry, because working, Jesus. If they're not at school, right? You are at work during that time. You're not doing it. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if you had 9 to 5 to be at home with them, to send them off to school, to go visit them at lunch, to, in the summertime, spend that time with them, go on walks, go on hikes, create memories, go travel, take them on vacation, do all those things? You owe it to yourself to take action today, even if you have kids, even if you have a wife, even if you have family, even if you have people depending on you. Take action. Take action and do it. See everything as an opportunity that's presenting itself in your life and not as just another procrastination excuse. Things are opportunities, right? When you look at it, right? So I'm sitting here. I'll give you an idea of one of the so one of the businesses I own is a cooking class business, right? So people come in and there's a professional chef that teaches a class. We'll call it sushi or Italian or French cuisine or whatever it is, right? That they're teaching a course on whatever meal it is that they specialize in. There's all these people in the class. They have their own set. They have their own workstations, and they go along with the chef and they create the meal with them. So it's kind of like they create a meal along with a professional chef, and then there's beer and wine and stuff included. So it's a really, really, really cool group experience. The idea for that was formed because I was cooking in my kitchen, night after night after night, and I enjoy cooking a lot. And I'm sitting there drinking and having a blast. There's music on, and I'm frying up whatever, and it's fun, right? I'm enjoying myself and I'm having fun. Well, I'm like, wouldn't this be cool if I could learn how to do like some new dishes or some new stuff, but have like friends do this with me? Like, that'd be so much fun. So of course I'm looking online to see if I can find somebody else that does it, or something that's like what I'm looking for. Nothing. Can't find anything about what I'm doing. And I'm like, well, shit. You know what? Let me talk to a couple people that I might know. And I didn't really know anybody. It was more of, can I search Instagram and find some local chefs or some local restaurants and try and meet their chef just on happenstance? But I was like, what if I started this? And I started looking into it, started researching costs, trying to figure out what it would cost to do this, cost to do that, or set up a test class, or buy the materials and the food and the ingredients and the equipment and the space and all that stuff. Started putting all that stuff together. And then before you know it, it had momentum. And then I met somebody because I was doing a thing and I was asking certain questions to different people and they were introducing me, and then it started this like networking of, kind of thing. And before you know it, it turned into this reality. I started just taking it one step at a time, right? I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess in order to do this, I need a logo. And then I talked to a logo designer. The logo designer did this. And then he's like, hey, if you need, I got a website guy. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll get a website going. Here's the different things that I'd probably need for a website. And then before you know it, the website's up. And then once the website's up, now we start taking orders. Now I'm like, well, shit, okay, now we got orders coming in, so I can start hiring a chef. And now I can start doing this. And now we got this going on. And now I got the space because I talked to this chef and he said he knows a guy and that guy's got space for him. So now we're doing this, and I'm buying the equipment, and then we put on a class, and now people love it, and there's a lot of positive feedback, and now this thing's growing and it's taken off. And it all started from, you know what, this is a cool opportunity. I was sitting in my kitchen, and I'm like, wouldn't it be kind of cool? It's an opportunity, right? How many people sit around every day and do something every single day that they think is super routine? I mean, you don't even have to think about it super routine. Think about one thing you do every day that's super routine. How could you make that a business? I know somebody personally who back home is a childhood friend of mine and went to high school and stuff with him, who just taking out trash. He realized that you can rent dumpsters to people and they will pay you a lot of money for it. And if you don't have real estate to rent out a home, why not rent out a dumpster, right? You can own a shit ton of them. You can put them in other people's property and you can make money with it. So he rents out dumpsters. This kid makes a killing. He makes so much fucking money, it's unreal. And he just grows every year, just grows more and more. More dumpsters, more trucks, more delivery vehicle, more just everything, right? And it's brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. He doesn't need real estate because he parks the damn things on other people's yards. All he needs is the equipment to move them, which is a truck or two. And then he needs the dumpsters themselves, which people pay for. So it's everything, right? And it's the point I'm getting across. I'm not trying to berate you guys or make you guys feel like you can't do anything or for asking the question. Ask the questions. These are all really, really, really good questions that you're asking. But understand, the biggest thing you already know the answer to, right? You already know. You've got to take action. Just start doing and stop sitting around and procrastinating. By doing, you change things in your life. You change things in your environment. You change things in your habits. And by changing the things in your habits, you become a different person. You change your paradigm. That's really what you're doing. You're changing the paradigm of your daily life. By changing your paradigm, you shift all these little things that are going on inside, and you start moving yourself towards that direction, right? I told myself, I was like, I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 33. I don't know fucking how the hell that's going to happen. Making $80,000 a year, going to $1 million, boy, let's see how this one plays out, right? Good luck. But guess what? I just started taking action. I didn't know how to get to point B. I knew I was at point A and I just had to get to point B. But you know what? I'm doing it. Now I own 3 different businesses and the businesses are all starting to take off. And while these businesses take off, I have digital assets that are growing in the background, right? I got Instagram channels and YouTube channels and all these other things going on. I got these digital assets that are growing in the background that are bringing in a substantial amount of cash flow. I also invest in the physical assets, the real estate and the apartment complexes and the multiplexes and all those different things, right? Because those things are now bringing in money. Now I have all these revenue streams that are starting to grow and build in and bring money in. And you know what? That dream, that one thing that seems super unachievable, guess what? I'm going to hit it probably a year ahead of time. It's incredible. And the only reason is because I took action. I didn't know how I was going to do it. All I knew is that I needed to start moving, and I did. And once I started moving, you create momentum. And by creating momentum, you start putting what that goal is in front of you. As long as you stay focused on the goal, you're going to achieve it. Focus on what it is that you're trying to achieve, and you'll make it happen. You will. There's a story that I think it was Tony Robbins. It may have been somebody else, but there was a story that he was telling in one of his videos, right, in one of his conferences, and he was talking about a tour guide, a whitewater rafting tour guide, and what he would do is this tour guide, whenever they were going on a trip or something, right, they were going down the river and they were going through the rapids, he would always point at what to avoid, right? So there's say down the stream, right, in the middle of it, there's a fallen tree on one bank. So you could either go right and hit the tree or you could go left and go around the tree, right? But you had to paddle to go one way or another. Now, what he would do when he first started off and he was young is he would point at whatever that it was that they were trying to avoid, the direction they were not going. He would point to it and be like, don't go there. Don't hit the tree. Look out for the tree. Don't go to the tree. Don't go to the tree. What would they do though? Everybody put all paddles in, high ho silver, and they just go right into the fucking tree. Hit the tree, raft will flip, everybody ends up outside. They go floating down the rest of the river upside down. God forbid somebody runs into a water snake or something, then they just completely lose their mind and go bananas. But regardless, right, they're pointing at what it is he needs to avoid. He's pointing at the thing that they're trying to avoid, and they go right to it, right? The same thing happens subconsciously in your head. If you're thinking, I can't do it, there's no way I'm going to achieve it, there's no way it's going to make it happen, I need to find out a perfect way, I need to do this, then you're never going to do it. Now, he realized that as he got older, and as he's done this, a few years now, he's like, you know what? I call this now the PowerPoint. And anything that I point to is where we want to go. And that's where we're going to put all our power, all our energy, and all our effort into what I point at. So now he points at the direction that they want to go. And what's he do? He puts all the focus. All he does is he sits there and he yells and he screams at what it is that they're trying to achieve. Focus for the opening, going to the left, stay to the left, keep your all eyes to the left, look at to the left, look at the left. And he just points at it, right? Points at the gap of what they're trying to hit. Everybody puts all their effort in and they're not paying attention to the obstacle. And he's like, you know what? He said, it makes the biggest difference by focus. Focus alone will get you to where you want to go more than anything else that they do, more than the effort, more than the drive, more than the strength of the people in the boat. He's like, it's all about what they focus on. If you can get them to all focus on what you need them to do, then they'll achieve it. Whether they know it or not, they'll achieve it because you put their focus. You focus, what you feed grows. And when you focus on what you're trying to achieve, that goal, that end state, that point B on the wall, when you put all your focus into that, you'll achieve it. I'll tell you the one real estate deal I'm working on right now, biggest deal I've ever done. Never done a bigger deal this size. It's bananas to me, right? I can't believe the amount of money that I'm somehow trying to raise to get this thing to happen. The cool thing is I'm learning so much from making this goal of mine and trying to achieve it. Because I've never done a deal this big, which means I can't do it, right? I can't do it by myself. I can't fund it. I can't figure it out. So the cool thing is I've got to be creative with the solutions that I'm going to come to the table with, right? I have to be creative and find alternate solutions to solve the problem. And the same thing can be true with you, right? The same thing's true with all of us. If you're trying to achieve something you've never done before, then you're going to find new solutions to get it done, as long as you focus on the end state of what it is that you're going to have, because you're going to get it done, right? I know this is going to go through. I know I'm going to make it work, right? I know that. I just got to figure out how it is that I'm going to make it work, okay? So, and that's what I'm saying. So you already believe in your head, right? You already know that what you're trying to do, you're going to achieve. You got to figure out, because you've never done it before, you got to figure out how you're going to do it. And I tell you what, that's the biggest thing. If you can figure that out alone, that'll help you take action, and that'll move you in the right direction, because then you understand that just by taking action, that's going to lead you to success in the long run. Okay? So, guys, that's it for this one. Taking action is the biggest thing, right? Just understand. Take action. That is the secret to success. We already know it. It's in our heart. We got it. Take action. Stop procrastinating and take action. Make today the day, right? Write down one thing every day that you're going to do to start driving yourself towards your goal. Whatever that goal may be, write down one thing and start driving yourself towards that every single day. It can be small, it can be big, no matter what it is, but make it something. Make it something and take a step towards it every day. Take action so you can start achieving, because once you start building up momentum, it's over. Once you have the momentum to get it done, it is over and you've got it. You'll have it done and you're going to believe it in your head, and once you believe it, over. You have it already. It's already done. Okay, I cannot express how excited this makes me feel. If you guys saw me right now, I'm like completely, my hands are all over the place. Like I am so energized and motivated about this, because it's powerful. Once you realize you can do something, it's so powerful that you'll achieve it. It's a shift. It's a shift in your paradox, shift in your head, and you'll make it happen. No matter what you need to do, you're gonna make it happen. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Again, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Podbean, podcast, like all these different things, right? Follow us on anything. Rate us on Podbean or Apple Podcasts if you can. The ratings obviously help out a lot in terms of getting the message out and helping other people. If you guys like this, send me a message on Instagram at fulfillment_lifestyle so that I can get some feedback and let me know what you guys like about what I'm talking about, what you guys don't like. And anything else I guess you have to say there. We also do coaching and stuff that's still on the site. So if you guys do want that, you want some more personalized one-on-one kind of type training, you like this content and this is some value that's provided for you, of course you can always hit me up. That's always an option there too. So other than that, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Look forward to talking to you guys in the next one. We'll see ya. Guys, if you're still here and you've listened this long, I'm telling you, take the stuff we talked about today in this episode and make it happen. Like it is just incredible how different your life could possibly be by just you taking action and pursuing the dreams. You've got it all inside of you. We all know what we can do. Take action and do it, because it will change your life and you will be such a happy, different person. And then you'll spread that energy to all the people that you know. Please take it, do it, and live it. You guys are going to be awesome. I love you guys so much.